is Wake Up Tucson with Christy Simone on 1030 KBOI, The Voice.
7:30 in the morning. You are on the Wake Up Tucson show, and we are honored and happy to have not just Sean here, but Dave Slavin. He's our Wake Up Tucson music contributor, and he's been on lots of different interviews. Last one we did together was actually John Anderson this summer. So
yeah, and what fun that was.
That was an amazing interview. We're going to go right to the phone lines. Calling in from a undisclosed location, as we like to say, is a man who played with Yes in the 80s and early 90s, of course, Rabbit before that, did 30 soundtracks after that, and now has kind of brought the band back together with John Anderson and Rick Wakeman. His name is Trevor Rabin. Good morning, sir.
Hey, how are you?
We are doing well. It's nice and warm and sunny in Arizona today. So
I can't wait.
We're looking forward to seeing you November 20th at Celebrity Theater in Phoenix. And my first question to you, sir, is how does it feel to be back on the road, because you have not been on the road like this in quite a while?
Yeah, it's an incredible change, because I don't know if it's 18 years or so, and it's actually 50 films, and for the last
sorry, I count wrong.
The last couple of years, John and Rick we've been talking for even longer than that about getting together, and we've wanted to do something. Rick and I wanted to do something after we did the Union tour in 91, 92, I think it was. And we just never did it. There's been time scheduling problems, and I think the catalyst was when my really close friend Chris Squire died. That kind of we cleared the deck and decided let's do this, and we've been recording some stuff, and we just didn't get it done in time to have it ready for the tour. So we decided, heck, let's do this tour. Let's play and get back into it, and for me more than them. So it's really been extremely enjoyable. I'm really enjoying myself. You've been very honest in your social media about how excited and giddy you are to do this tour, and also that when you first started, you felt a little rusty. So I did feel a bit rusty. It took, it's funny because I did an instrumental album a couple of years ago where I really kind of practiced and prepared myself for it, and I wrote stuff which was pretty challenging for me, and I really enjoyed it, and it was an album I did, and didn't even look for a record company till the album was done, because I didn't want any A&R guys coming in and saying, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that." I just wanted to do what I was doing and what I wanted to do.
That was an incredible album.
Oh, thank you.
Incredible album. You had a track on there, the second track, Morning Broken.
Maybe I think you're thinking of Into the Tunnel.
No, anyway, this track 2 of your album on Jacaranda,
right?
And you listen to the first 30 seconds of it, and the different guitars, the way you layered it.
Oh yeah, oh God, I don't remember the name.
But I'm thinking, boy, when I'm listening to that, I'm thinking retrospectively about Cans and Brahms on the Fragile album with Rick Wakeman, and the way he layered all the keyboards, and I thought, wow, this is just fabulous.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and then really just played guitar again after that for the films, and I'd play on all my films when guitar was needed, but I was holding a baton, conducting orchestra more than I was playing guitar, and the biggest change is I've got something heavy on my shoulder as opposed to holding a little stick. So but getting back into it, it definitely took a couple of gigs to get the rust out, and it's just getting better and better every night. We're having fun.
Well, let's have the Trevor Rabin rundown of your bandmates right now, about how they're playing and how you enjoy playing with them. Starting with Lee Pomeroy, who's filling in big shoes doing trying to fill in for Chris Squire on all these classic tunes and challenging tunes. Talk about why Lee's the right guy.
Well, I hadn't met Lee, and I had some other guys in mind, and Rick was really passionate about Lee, and he's from London. And then I did some research on him, and I thought, well, I understand why Rick's so passionate. So we got together and we played, and he really is a great bass player, phenomenal bass player, and it's kind of enjoyable and effortless for him. I think he's just having.
He just played with the Electric Light Orchestra, if I'm correct.
Yeah, very, very different music, and I actually went to see the show and went to see him there, and I thought, well, this is pretty different from Yes, but I take Rick by his word, and boy, he walked in and nailed everything.
So a very iconic song for Chris, of course, is the Fish, and this is basically a bass solo song. And Lee, how did that develop that Lee was going to do that?
We just decided, because Long Distance is a song that happens before that the Fish comes in, and
right.
We did that, and rather than end the song, we said, we had played with him now for a while, we thought, well, he can definitely manage that, and he's exceeded our expectations. He really is pretty phenomenal.
Let's talk about Lou Molino III. I love that name. He's been with you since Can't Look Away, or possibly before in '89. So,
correct.
I was just listening to Live in L.A. driving in today. So he is pretty amazing guy.
Yeah, no, he's fantastic, and he's also 10 minutes with him, it's like Rick. You're going to have sore cheeks. He's a very funny guy, and he's kind of just a nuts guy from Philadelphia, and an incredible drummer.
Let's talk about Mr. Wakeman right now. He doesn't seem like he's lost a step.
He hasn't lost anything. I was kind of amazed. First show out of the box, he was just great. I mean, there was just no problem at all. He was right into it. I mean, it was funny, the other night we had the keyboards went down. You know how computers are. Everything just crashed, so it had to be brought up again. And we were thinking, what should we do? Maybe I'll do a solo? And then I had an idea, well, Rick's a comedian as well.
Oh, no.
And so he walked forward while the guy was getting all the keyboards back up, and did 5 minutes comedy, and the people went completely berserk. It worked so well. I said to Rick after, I said, maybe we should put this in the set.
Well, Rick does a series of shows called Grumpy Old Man Shows, where he actually does kind of stand up, introduces the song, plays it on piano.
He's totally a legitimate comedian.
Now let's talk about John Anderson. We interviewed John, Dave and I, about 3 months ago when he was still doing work with Jean-Luc Ponty. Where is he at vocally, spiritually? He is thrilled to be with you guys doing this when we talk to him.
Yeah, no, I've never seen, I was on stage with John for, 15, 16 years, whatever it was, and I've never seen him more kind of happy and content and excited every time we do a gig. And, I didn't know, I hadn't worked with him for so long, I didn't know what his voice was going to be like on stage. I mean, we'd been sharing tapes and everything, and he was great on that, but, it's a different thing. Certainly 10 gigs in, how the voice is going to stand up. And he's been like Rick. It's just this kind of completely solid thing which continues.
By the way, Market Street was the name of that track that I had.
No, that's right.
That I had misstated. But with your tenure in Yes being back in the 80s, when Rick Wakeman was not a member, and in the early 90s, how did you folks go about picking the songs that you're going to be playing in concert?
Well, that was a tough one because we rehearsed way more than we could do. We came to the end of rehearsing and getting all the songs together and realized we got a 3.25-hour show or something. So let's start cutting down, otherwise we're going to have a sleeping audience at some point. So it was quite tough, you know. It was like throwing the baby out with some of the songs. It's like, oh, well, that one, we really enjoyed playing that, and well, we can't do it all, so we landed up doing what we thought was right for the show. And you know what? We've changed as it's gone along. The song changes we weren't doing, and we decided that no, we should put that in, and we integrated that. We were doing a song Starship Trooper, which we just felt was a little long in the tooth, and we'd been doing it so long, and it was we enjoyed playing it, but it just felt like we've been playing it a lot. Whereas a song like "Our Neverlonely Heart," which I've been playing since I wrote it, still is very exciting to play, and Rick and I actually go out into the audience and have a ball. So it wasn't easy choosing the stuff and getting rid of the stuff. We'd rehearsed a song "Shoot High Aim Low," which we were sorry to see go, but we just couldn't do everything. So we've landed up with a set that it's a moving target, and we'll change it as it goes along. But as of now, it stays as it is.
Hey, we're on with Trevor Rabin here on the Wake Up Tucson show, question 790-2040. November 20th, he, Rick Wakeman, and John Anderson with Lou Molino and Lee Pomeroy are playing Celebrity Theater on the Sunday night before Thanksgiving here in Arizona. Trevor, as you move through here, what is the post-tour Anderson, Rabin, Wakeman look like? Because I know you said you've been recording, and what is that going to look like?
Well, when we finish this tour, we have a couple of months off, and I was thinking of maybe doing a film, and then I realized, well, it might be really touch and go time-wise, because I can't not finish a movie because there's a tour coming up. You have to finish. When you start a film, it's unwritten law. You don't not finish it, and not to mention contractually. So we decided that we want to really try and get as much done as we can before the tour, and maybe even put some songs out. And kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, we'll put it out as it goes, and then eventually put together the whole album. So that's what we're working on.
Trevor, do you have any plans to do any live recordings, any of the shows that you're doing now, because you're going to change up the set? I'm a huge guy of listening to live recordings, so that's why I'm curious.
Yeah, and Rick put it pretty succinctly the other day. Well, the reason we are going to do and very much want to do, and probably will do it in London, because we got 2 shows at one place, so we're going to record those 2 nights probably. And we will put out a DVD, and I'm going to mix it in 5.1 and do it properly.
Perfect.
Do you got any plans to perform "Endless Dream"?
It's amazing. I mean, it's an album that kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. Didn't do as well as we wanted it to do, but for whatever reason, and there's been just so many requests.
I know.
That's one track.
I'm quite surprised that so many people want us to do it. So I think during a break we're going to look at, because that's a pretty tough one to do, and it'll take a bit of rehearsal. And we didn't rehearse that for this tour, although we had it on the list, but we didn't do it.
If there's a talk song that screams for a Rabin Wakeman treatment, it's "Endless Dream."
Rick really wanted to do it, and we probably on this break, if we get the recording we want to do in time, we're going to look at getting that together.
790-2040 is the phone number. Let's get Brian on the line. I know he when I put this on Facebook, Trevor, he said, "Can't Look Away, top 5 albums of his entire life," believe it or not.
Oh, that's very kind.
I love that album. So let's go to Brian on line 2. Brian, what's up? You're on with Trevor Rabin. Sorry, go, Brian. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's all right. Trevor, he's absolutely correct. Can't Look Away, top 5 album for me. I can't tell you how much it's meant to me over the years. Thank you for producing that and writing all those great songs.
Thanks, thanks for the compliment.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. It still means the world to me. I love some of the deeper cuts, Eyes of Love, Promises. They just still ring true. So It's an honor to hear you locally on the radio. It's an honor to speak to you, and I'm so glad you're still making music, and what you're doing today is just as relevant, but I just had to speak about that record because it means so much.
Oh, well, thanks a lot. Brian, where are you? Sorry, I didn't hear. Where are you based?
Well, we're in Tucson, Arizona. Grew up in Texas, but this is home now. So live here in Tucson and absolutely love the desert. But I'm so appreciative that you're on the air today. It's wonderful.
Oh, well, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for calling in.
Brian, thanks for the call. You're welcome, Brian. 790-2040. Let's go to Philip real quick on line 3. Philip, you're on with Trevor Rabin. What's up?
Yes, your guest, you may not know this, the answer to this, but why has Rick Wakeman never released No Earthly Connection?
I don't think he knows the answer to that question.
I don't have an answer to that question, but I'll offer one thing Rick said the other day in doing an interview about the band. He said they asked about John, and he said, well, John's the only guy he knows that wants to fix this planet while living on another. That's
a great quote. 790-2040. We're on with Trevor Rabin from Anderson Rabin Wakeman, November 20th. They are playing Celebrity Theater. It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Dave had a question about your soundtrack stuff he wanted to get to.
You know, quick. Trevor, your time in Yes, and I'm thinking, all right, how does one make the transition from being a guitarist in the band Yes to writing soundtracks? Do you just apply for a job? I mean, how did it happen that you end up writing over 40 soundtracks?
Well, no, it's the way that you would normally do it. You would go to school and study film scoring, and I've actually done some kind of done some lectures for USC on film scoring, and they have a great program for film scoring. But I was just very, very lucky. I left Yes, and I had an incredible teacher with regard to conducting arrangement and orchestration by a guy who just passed away recently. Walter Money was his name. He was just a brilliant teacher, and I'm a dreadful student, and it's to his credit that he taught me what he did. And I just felt that was an area that I just never used much. I mean, on a couple of Yes albums, I did a little bit of string arrangements and brass stuff, but never orchestral stuff. And I thought, well, film is a great place to do it. I was at a restaurant with my wife, and cut a long story short, the maitre d' came to me and said, Steven Seagal knows you come here, and he's owner of the restaurant, a part owner, and he wants you to teach him guitar. So I said I'd be happy to meet with him. We spent a couple of hours. I showed him some things. He said, thank you. I'm cutting it real short, but sure. He said, anything I can do for you? And I said, yeah, well, if you have a name of an agent or something, I'm trying to get into film scoring. And he said, well, I've just done a film. Do you want to do it? I did that film, not really knowing what I was doing, but then Jerry Bruckheimer got wind of the score, heard it, and next thing I did the following 13 Bruckheimer movies. So that was
wow.
I was very lucky.
So when I see Steven Seagal playing that guitar in like he does in that Fire Down Below, I get to blame Trevor Rabin. Is that what you're telling me?
I take no credit.
Hey, which of your if you're going to do the 2 or 3 soundtracks that you're the most proud of after all of these, which would they be? I know you like Remember the Titans.
Yeah, I would definitely say Remember the Titans. I would say both National Treasures as a second, because it's one big work, if you like. And there was a movie called The Great Raid, which didn't do as well as those movies, so people might not know about it as much. But I was very happy with that score. I went and did it with London Symphony in England, and it was great because there was no MIDI. It was just getting up and full orchestra, just all at once, just playing. It was fantastic.
Now, you come from a classical background, correct?
Yeah, my dad was the leader of the Johannesburg Symphony Orchestra, and me and my siblings, from 5 years old, we had to start learning piano, and I literally could read music before I could read English, and I just grew up like that. I actually played Mozart's Concerto in D major, which definitely isn't one of the more difficult ones. But it was challenging for a 14-year-old, and I played it with my dad as the orchestra leader. So they gave me a good grounding.
All right. So how does the son become a drummer?
Your
son, Ryan Rabin.
Yeah, Ryan is in a band, Group Love, my son, and I started him on piano very young, and he plays piano, but he one day just came to me and said, I've been playing with some friends of mine. Come and listen. So I went to listen thinking he was playing keyboards. And he sat behind the drums. And I couldn't believe it. He was 14, I think. The next day I bought him a drum kit, and now he's a phenomenal producer. And fortunately, I can't take too much credit other than stuff that might have just washed over him. But he was in a band before Group Love, and at one point came to me and said, I want to go to college, and stopped the band, went and got his degree in business management, record business management, and also technical areas, learning Pro Tools and all that stuff, and is a phenomenal drummer, and he's actually going to get up with us. They're on the road, so we have real problems trying to schedule it, but when we have some days where he's not on and I am on, he's going to fly out and do a show with us.
That's awesome.
Just a song or two.
So I got one last question. I know we got to let you go. What is your biggest biggest piece of advice that you gave Ryan as he's in this Group Love, which is an amazing, very popular band? What's the biggest piece of advice you gave him in relation to enjoying it and writing the success of it?
I would say the first one was don't drink, drive. Don't drive, don't drive drunk. Just sounds like I've had a couple.
Thank you.
And I think the main thing was when he was really learning drums, I said, by all means listen to everyone, but you must be your own person. If you just copy someone, you're never going to be your own guy, and it's never going to lead anywhere. Which was quite harsh advice, but I think it worked well.
Well, Trevor, thanks for your time. You've been generous with your time. We totally appreciate. We probably violated everything your PR guy told you to do today. So
Thank you very much, Trevor.
I had a ball. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much, and I hope you come to the show in Phoenix.
The tickets are already bought.
Yes.
Great, man. We'll see you there.
All right, Trevor Rabin. Thank you, sir.
Come backstage, have a beer or something.
All right, I'll arrange that with your PR guy.
Sounds great, man.
Thank you, Trevor.
All right, speak to you later.
Take care. That's Trevor Rabin, Anderson Rabin Wakeman. Yes, in the 80s and 90s, wrote Owner of a Lonely Heart, 40 soundtracks. Loved talking to him. So, Dave Slavin, thanks, buddy.
Hey, thank you, Chris.
Shawnee Mack, thanks for riding that with the two geeks.
I was going to say, I've never seen two gentlemen smile more than when he said come backstage and have a beer. I think Dave's going to, float out of here.
I floated in.
Exactly.
All right, we got a really short segment coming up next. Sylvia Campoy, TUSD, coming up at the top of the hour. Wake Up Tucson, 10:30 The Voice.